What neighborhoods are the worst for parking in Philadelphia? Let's check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Gregory Martire, your local real estate expert here in the greater Philadelphia area. Got you covered in the city, out of the city, in Jersey too, in the suburbs. Today we're talking about the worst neighborhoods for parking in Philadelphia. And boy, there's a lot to say about parking in Philly. Now, Philadelphia is one of the most walkable neighborhoods in the country. So who cares about parking? We don't need parking. Well, let's talk today about the worst areas to park in. And please check out Parking Wars because it was a very successful reality TV show about the Philadelphia Parking Authority. Bring your prayers and bring your attorney. No, I'm just kidding. But our friends at PPA certainly loved to hear about how wonderful they are and about how respectful they are. But here's a little hint. So there are more than 2 million parking spots in Philadelphia. Why can't we ever find one when we're looking for it, right? No, but all kidding aside, there are that many parking spots in the city, but not in these particular neighborhoods. So Philadelphia has the worst parking, or I should say the third worst parking city in the entire earth. Now, is that true? I mean, it was on the internet, so it must be true, but I feel like every city has its own parking issues, so check out our video on the best neighborhoods to park in, but we're focusing on the worst. So I have to mention Center City. Now, this is in no particular order, but Center City with so many shops and restaurants and businesses, and there's a ton of great places to live in Center City. As you get closer to the center of the city, the parking is not as good for living. Now, there's a ton of parking opportunities, of course, if you're visiting or you're checking out Old City or you're checking out the history of where our nation was born. There's a lot of opportunity there. Of course, you have to pay for parking. There are a couple of tricks and hints to pay for to get cheaper parking or free parking. Free parking on a loading zone, by the way, but don't stay there more than 20 minutes. But check out our other video on that. We did talk about that a lot, but I do want to say that if the ticket is not printed yet, ask and beg for forgiveness. Pleading and holding your hands like this and giving the sad puppy eyes works. As long as the ticket hasn't been printed, you should have a pretty good chance that they won't give you that ticket. Of course, you have to move your car. So Center City is not that good. This is based on the volume of number of houses in conjunction with the volume of number of parking spots. So bear with me, and if you have a comment or you think of another area or maybe there's an area that we missed, hit that comment down below, and while you're there, hit subscribe and click that bell notification. It helps the channel, and plus you get alerted to all the great videos that we're putting out. So I do want to mention, all throughout the city, you can virtually park on any street, any residential street, on both sides of the street, anywhere you want to. I mean, it's come one, come all. Now, there are several sections of the city that have parking permits. So you have to be a resident. You have to prove that you live there. You don't have to own the place. So if you're renting or maybe you have a tenant there, they have to prove that they live there. And you can get a parking permit. Downtown and Center City and a lot of places, they're heavily metered by kiosks and PPA, and you have to pay for your time. Now, there are a ton of great parking garages and parking lots and tons of parking opportunities. The cost for a couple hours is about $20. Now, if you stay a little longer, the price doesn't go down, but you're not being charged $10 an hour. But a good rule of thumb is about $10 an hour. So you can pay ahead of time. You can buy monthly rates. We'll put some links there below to help you out. All right, so let's get to it. Let's talk about the top 5 worst neighborhoods for parking in Philadelphia. All right, so number 5 is Winfield Heights. Now, if you're from Winfield Heights, you call it Winfield. If you're from Philly, you call it Winfield. So Winfield. Now, again, please bear with me on the list. We actually did a video on Winfield Heights, so check it out. It's again, based on the amount of houses and the amount of parking spots. So we only counted things. We're not that mad at Winfield, but Winfield's got some of the worst parking in the city. However, it's got some really great condos, excellent price points. It's right near City Line Avenue, and there are a ton of open fields near there. Check out Winfield, coming in at number 5. All right, so number 4. Number 4 is Center City West. Now, I know nobody's surprised. You're in the center of the city, okay? You got walkable coming out the wazoo. It's walkable with your wazoo, and you don't even have to bring your wazoo, but walkable, walkable, walkable. Find a place to park and go. Not convenient for parking and living. Check out our Center City video. Some excellent opportunity there for purchasing real estate and renting real estate. Hit us up if you have a question. All right, so number 3, Bridesburg. OMG, I love Bridesburg. Now, we did a video on Bridesburg. Check that out. You got to see it. Bridesburg is such a cool part of the city. It's so old school, and it's just so fun, but the streets are kind of narrow, and it's hard to park, and it doesn't have as many parking spots as it does houses, or I should say, the amount of parking spots versus the amount of houses just doesn't compute. So when they built Bridesburg, they weren't thinking about 2021 and how many people would have, every person in the household would have a car. The schools are great in Bridesburg. And Bridesburg has a lot of Pridesburg. There's a big family orientation there. It's a great little community. Okay, number 2, second worst part of Philadelphia neighborhood to live in for parking availability is Belmont. So Belmont is not far from the zoo, West Philadelphia. Now, the great thing about Belmont, though, is it has the SEPTA line running right smack through the neighborhood. So who needs a car and who needs to park? Well, we got SEPTA. Hint, hint, check out our SEPTA video. Now, SEPTA is the public transportation authority in our fair city. Belmont also has a great charter school right in the middle of the neighborhood. That's a really good spot to live. Not if you want to park. All right, so last but not least, and actually I have a bonus one for you that I thought of, but the world's worst, not the world's, the city's worst for parking, Philadelphia, number 1, East Parkside. Now, with every pun intended, why is the world's, I say the world's, why is Philadelphia's worst East Parkside, but also the best had the word park in it? Got to check out the video to find out. And I won't tell you, but it rhymes with Fairmount Park. Oh, it is Fairmount Park. No, we're talking about the worst here. So East Side Park, also kind of near the zoo. So not a ton of parking opportunities. Not a great spot to live and park, but look, who's counting? Got SEPTA. Heck, we got Uber. Need a ride? Call me. I'll help you out. So you're in the Centennial District in East Parkside, which is very convenient for major highways. You're right near 76. You're also near really cool Girard Avenue. Gets you in and out of the city pretty quickly. All right, so I promised you a bonus, and I don't want to let you down. The fans of our channel, if you're a fan of the channel, write that down below. Fan of this channel, please comment it down below. Hit like, hit subscribe. Did I do all that? Yeah. So I gotta say Manayunk. Now, we did a great video on Manayunk. I mean, of course, all of our videos are great. I'm not biased by any means, but you got to check out our Manayunk video. But Manayunk is notorious for terrible parking. I mean, it's so hilly, and there are a ton of one-way streets, and there are a ton of tiny, I say tiny, skinny alleys. I mean, skinny, really skinny, narrow streets. Parking is brutal in Manayunk. So if you want to come and hang out on Main Street, you got to come early. You got to park far. Not to say there's no parking. There are some great opportunities in Manayunk. They've got some beautiful real estate there. And really great price points too. There are garages. There are off-street parking available. It's not to say there are none, but it certainly makes our top list of worst spots to park. I don't know if you can hear all that ruckus out there, but I'm not going to turn the camera off. This is what's going on in our city right now. We got sirens, we got construction now. We got life living out there, so I hope you don't mind a little bit of noise. If you didn't hear it, please don't think I'm crazy. I am telling the truth. So if you have any other questions or comments, or maybe you think of a neighborhood that I missed for terrible parking, let us know. Put it in the comment button, or give me a call, or text me, or you can send us an email, or send me a fax, or send us a letter. I appreciate you stopping out. I'm Gregory Martire, your local real estate expert here in the Philadelphia area. We got you covered all over the city and all outside of the city as well. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.